So the first question for the panel is on succession planning, and it's how closely should leadership selection and training be aligned with succession planning? And we don't have to go down the line if anybody wants to jump in.
Yeah, the selection process, it's not just the selection process, it's the whole vetting process of how you identify people with the acumen to be managers. It's very rare you get the best player on any team to be the best manager. It's exceedingly rare. So if you think of in a sales force, how often do you have your perennial leader's edge, or whatever award you call it, award winner, get promoted into management and be successful? It's not often. If you really think about it, it's not that often. It's usually that top third solid performer who's got the acumen for, and the sales forces, especially in the US, the sales forces tend to be much better at this selection and vetting process, and the technical areas are much less good at it.
I'll piggyback on that. From like the commercial side of it, this is critical for us. Really having having a seat at that table and developing kind of the succession plan and developing the competencies of what we want our leaders to be, the competencies that we want them to strive to be, and then developing those skills and the training to allow people to have that development to become really good leaders. So for us on the commercial side of it, it goes hand in hand. And we ensure that you as an individual contributor, if you're going to become our bench for our leaders, we want to make sure that we're giving you all the right skill set to do that. And so, making sure that they have the right training, that they have the right skills, that they have the opportunity to even practice it in a safe environment. So there's different ways that we can do that, and there's different ways that I've done that in the past. I'm trying to build it in the future. But I think, to your point, John, it's something that isn't consistent across even your own companies. I saw that at larger companies that I've been at, where you have what's one way of doing something for a commercial side of the business that isn't even thought of, and sort of that other side of the wall side of the business. So like R&D would never even think to create simulations, or never even think to create kind of opportunities for their individual contributors to have that skill set. So I think you'll find like variances even within your own organization of kind of succeeding in this area.
I cannot agree more with what I'm hearing so far, especially creating an environment for practice, the opportunity for growth, the learning curve, that understanding that we all need that space and that place to fail strategically, fail early, get notes, get coaching notes, create essentially a culture that allows this to take place. And not only allows it, encourages it to take place. And so it has the rituals, the routines, the practices, the language accountability practices, a way to communicate this front and backwards, support collateral. It's imperative.
I want to kind of talk to you as an audience that basically, I think that this is a real opportunity for the learning and development folks to really have a bigger impact on your organization. I really believe this. As a managing director, I charge my HR people. I want to have a succession plan. I want to know for every leadership position that we have, and this isn't just line management, this is project management, this is key technical leadership. I want to list in every single leadership position that if they left tomorrow, our performance would drop significantly. That's really the criteria of leadership. If they leave tomorrow, our performance would drop significantly. And I want to come up with a plan where we have at least one ready now candidate to take their place. That's number one on succession plan. Secondarily, if you don't have one ready now, you've got one ready now, one ready with training. If you've got somebody that's close, they're going to need this training to get to the next level. And if you don't have that, I want you to develop a taxi squad. I want to know who out there in the community, and my competitors and my clients or whatever, that could fill this role, and I want to meet them, and I want to meet them now to let them know that sometime in the future I want them to work for me. So it's constantly worry about whether or not if anybody left my organization, I could replace them immediately with somebody else. A good analogy is a football analogy. You know, in football, there's 22 positions, and they always talk about ready now, next man up. Why? Because when somebody leaves, you have to replace that person now, not a day from now, a week from now. In some cases, as you know, in technical organizations, it takes 6 to 9 months to replace people. 6 to 9 months where that position is unfilled and the productivity goes down. So I use that football analogy a lot. Okay, that's the reason why they always have a backup and a backup. They got 2 or 3 guys. You think about that in your business. So I think as leadership and developing people, what I would suggest is that if you don't already have a copy of the succession plan, ask for it. If they don't have one, if your organization doesn't have one, start developing it. Okay, and you don't have to do it the way I've asked people to do it, but I strongly suggest that you think about, do we have a ready now candidate? If not, do we have a candidate that would be ready with training? And this is a contribution that you can make to your line management big time in terms of adding value to your company.
So I'll just add one quick note here, and that is that many of you in the audience here don't have an overall corporate responsibility for succession planning. A lot of you are looking at specific departments. I think a lot of what Tony talked about is very appropriate. I like to think about it like shark's teeth. If you are familiar with the way sharks have their teeth, the first row is the one they're chewing on today. But you've always got to have at least another row or 2 coming behind that are going to be able to replace that. They may not be quite as sharp, they may not be quite as large yet, but they're the ones that you're going to grow to bring forward. And it's looking for those lines to go through there. I started today talking a little bit about expectations, and those expectations drive back to what does good look like. So when you are looking at the dentition of your department, okay, and how those shark teeth are going to come forward. Remember what good looks like. Is it the functionality of how it's going to chew? Is it the functionality of the targets that you're going after to go bite? What is it that's going to help define what good looks like? And that will help align those teeth in a way that will bring them forward in the way that you need them. So I'm the king of bad analogies, but that's one that I use, okay?